Mpenzi msikilizaji, Gospel Radio sasa inapatikana ndani ya Google. Ingia kwenye Google, tafuta Gospel Radio, utatupata live. Kumbuka, Gospel Radio ni injili ya matumaini kwa jamii. Ili kutualika tuabudu nawe katika ibada na turekodi vipindi vyetu live pamoja na kupeperusha, wasiliana nasi kupitia nambari 0790748506, 0790748506. Tutakuja kanisani kwako, tuabudu pamoja, tubarikiwe pamoja na tupeperushe vipindi vyetu live ndani ya Gospel Radio. Kumbuka, Gospel Radio ni injili ya matumaini kwa jamii. Ibada ibadani.
Before our speaker and before our leader, I had mentioned that my counterpart, South Nairobi Kajiado Field, Pastor Kennedy Mchana is the president and also the wife is here. Mami, unaweza kuja ndio pastor akisalimiana tu, sijali. I know he was somewhere introducing a pastor and he had indicated that he's coming. Pastor, naomba usalimu watu wa Mungu.
Nawasalimu katika jina la Yesu. Bwana asifiwe. The Lord is good all the time. Unajua sisi ni majirani na hakuna vile pastor angekuwa na huduma na amalize bila sisi kuwa na yeye. At last July tulipokuwa na yetu kubwa, alikuwa na program tight, lakini alifanya bidii aka make sure amefika. Ilikuwa na huduma ya muhimu ya lazima, nimemaliza na nikasema nijiunge pamoja nanyi, na wapongeza wote kwa kufikia mahali mmefikia. Na Bwana wa mbinguni awabariki.
Amen.
Wana wa Mungu, mjambo.
I want to humbly invite our leader to lead us in the program. Ile kwaya ya kahawa mjitayarisha, akimaliza tawapea nafasi mweze kuimba wimbo. Thank you.
Asante sana na wasalimu hamjambo. Hamjambo kila mmoja. Wengine wanashangaa tunafanya nini hii, na tunawaelezea tu hivi karibuni baada ya kutambua watu wengine kati ya hao wote. Nataka kushukuru wote ambao mmefika, umati mkubwa wa wachungaji, washiriki, viongozi, watumishi wa serikali tukufu ya Kenya na nchi ya Kenya. Na ni mkutano wa muhimu sana. Hebu niulize, ni wangapi ambao wanahudhuria mkutano kama huu wa kutenga wachungaji for the first time? Those who are attending this ceremony, a ceremony for this time, first time. Yeah. And that is why we must have started with the purpose of the meeting. Wale wanashangaa mbona tumeona vituko ambavyo hatuchaona. And we shall speak more in language ya ugenini, because of some people who, if we speak in Kiswahili, they will not follow. And since they have created time and come here, we cannot assume. And from the look of things and your faces, all of you must be comfortable with English. Hatutakuwa na mtu ambaye atapotea kabisa, maana huwezi kuvaa tai na hujui Kiingereza. Wanaume, inawezekana. Na kina mama wamevaa mpaka they have confirmed that they are very comfortable with English. Ndio maana we want to speak in English. First of all, let me thank all of you
and also thank the office for such a privilege like this, and inviting high-profile leaders of this church who happen to be my friends also. Pastor Sam Mwebasa is the youth. You can stand up. He said his children there. And the children are big. There was a time when we were young boys somewhere. I want to declare that we were with Sam Mwebasa in Bugema when we were doing undergraduate. And we sang in the same choir, college choir. Then I was not married. That's when I looked here and said, oh, so Sam Mwebasa is now an old man. Mnasemaje kwa kiongozi wetu wa vijana division nzima? Amen and welcome. Then Dr. Melak and his wife, you can stand up, is our esteemed lecturer at the Adventist University of Africa. After finishing a bachelor's degree, we sat in the same class with Dr. Melak at master's level, and we were the pioneers of AUA, where he now lectures. And then he was not married, but now I can see they have brought, they have expanded the kingdom of Ethiopia. And we want to thank God. Mnasemaje kwa huyu kiongozi wa the Adventist University of Africa, a general conference institution? Welcome. Dr. Fiambo David worked at the Central Church. He was our pastor. You know, people don't know the difference between the Union and Central Church. So they think the Union is a member of Central Church. So, and we don't want to argue a lot. A pastor is a pastor. Then he went to the Philippines and he came back. He lectures at the Adventist University of Africa. And is here, I know, with his family. Mnasemaje kwa Professor Odhiambo? Welcome. Na tungeendelea hivyo all the way, the people we know, but time is not on our side. But among the ordinants, there is a special group of ministers. We have now become very intentional in ordaining chaplains. Very special. And I have seen Pastor Mwebasa is happy because he's the chaplain's director, and he must be very happy. We have become intentional, and if we hadn't become intentional, we couldn't have given opportunity to people like Pastor Ochanda, who worked as a chaplain, and he has worked as a chaplain. When they said those who have come on behalf of Pastor Ochanda, I saw young people. They must be university students. When I see all university students who are here for one reason or another, either you just finished and you are here, or you are in university. Can you stand up? Yes. I just saw them there. I saw them. Is that from Machakos University or from various universities? Various universities. We love you, and we have become intentional. That is why last year the union took an action to have an independent chaplains department, and it's now headed by Dr. Ernest Nyakina, who is working very, very hard. So Pastor Chanda, very good. But you are running away from chaplaincy. We can We can ordain you and remain in those universities. We need service to these universities, including this one, where we are. This is East Africa School of Aviation. And there are very many young people here. We need, Chanda, go to the office and say, send me to the university. Then another one is Philip. Philip is very special, and his wife. You can stand a little bit. Philip is special in many ways. He's a military man, brought up in the military, and is being ordained in the military. Actually, as you see him here, is a high ranking in the Air Force. He's based in Moi Air Base. I went there. This one, usifikiri hivi. Ndege zile mnaona zinakuja hapa zinaepaepa buildings hapa na zigongi. Ndio hawa. So we are very safe. Hakuna mtu atatubomu hapa. But one thing is, surely there is no way we reach the KDF, the people in the military, if we don't have our people that God has raised inside the military. That is why when we realized he has finished his college, we ordained him immediately. Let me declare here, this is the only one we broke the Adventist rules of ordination. Because it says you must work as a pastor for 4 years after college before you do it. But if you read here, we are ordaining him before 4 years because of that speciality. Philip, thank you very much. And it's named after, you had Nyarigot. Nyarigot, you know, it's just, the Kisses were not able to pronounce the settler's name of Northcote. Yule mzungu wa so they could not pronounce it, and they called him Nyarigot. So this is Northcote. Northcote. Jina la mzungu. But I think it is his father or grandfather who is called, because Northcote was here before independence. So it is his grandfather. Thank you very much, Philip. And we want to see that our people in the military are served very well. And I wish Tombat was here. We also ordained. He was the first one we ordained with Gidenge and Tarus. And they are serving in our military places very well. So we now have, and where is the other one Ishotam, yeah. Seda. Seda is not present. Oh, yeah, Seda. Seda was my church elder when I was a pastor in South Church. Nick Seda, yes. We need those who are there in prisons, in the military. Here, we train, we ordain them when they have finished their college, and they go there and serve. After all, you don't know when you go to these people who are in prisons, how do you praise God? And they are there and they say, I am a murderer, I've killed 10 people, and you even don't know how to begin that sermon, but they know. So that's why we needed to recognize them. Philip, thank you very much. Ochanda, thank you very much. Now, this is an ordination ceremony. Let me read what is the purpose of the ordination. Pastors have their book called Seventh-day Adventist Minister's Handbook, a book that should be in a minister's hand, and it is in my hands. I want to read page 93, so that I read the purpose of today's meeting, and you know whether you fit there or you don't fit there. It says here, Adventists teach that ordination is the church at large setting aside of its ministerial leaders. Let me read once more. That ordination, according to the Seventh-day Adventist, ordination is the church at large setting aside of ministerial leaders. Yaani, kutenga wachungaji, kuweka wachungaji wakfu, ni kazi ya kanisa lote. And then a sentence below here says, ordination, however, is not something ministers do to each other. Sio kitu ambacho wachungaji wanafanyiana. Kama mlivyoona hapo, mchungaji wamesimama hapa, wanasoma wachungaji wengine. And this is the only time we expose a pastor to levels that sometimes become uncomfortable. I tell you, they were not comfortable, but we called them here, expose them. This is the only time we expose them. Why? We want to show you that the people we are giving to the church are upright people, are productive people. That is why we even say they have been working actively as evangelistic. How many evangelistic campaigns have you done? How many people have come as a result of that? We want to prove to the church that we are giving to the church productive people. Hakuna mtu hapa. Tungepata mtu ambaye amefanya kazi kwa miaka 5 na hajapatisa mtu yeyote, we cannot ordain such a person because he's not productive. No, that's why we are exposing them. We are exposing them that they are responsible people of the family. We read when he married, how many children he has. We are not reading to parade them. We are reading and saying we are ordaining and giving the church responsible people, family people. By the way, in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, we don't ordain a pastor if he's not married. But we don't deny him if he has not got children. That we don't deny him. But he must marry. He must marry. Why? Because we must give the church a responsible person, a responsible family person. Yesterday we had several hours with them. We even inquired things we cannot inquire publicly here. Huh? How many times have you beaten your wife? Because we don't want to give a congregation a pastor who beats a wife. We checked those things. We have checked. And from the periphery and from other witnesses, they said, surely, no. And we also asked the mamas, kama waliogopa wakasema hiyo ajanipiga shauri yake. What we want to make sure is we are giving the church responsible family people who are productive. Then again we said, where did you go to primary? Where did you go to secondary? Where do you go to university? Because we don't want to give the church mediocre people who are class 4 school dropouts. And then we say you are the pastor of Umoja Church. No. We are giving you learned people, people who have gone to school. And we check their certificates. Why? Because ordination is a church at large of setting aside of their ministerial leaders. These ministerial leaders must go to school, they must be family people, they must be productive, and they are there. And today we are bringing to you 10 learned people, productive people, family people to serve the church in East Nairobi field. Oh, there are 12. Yes, 12. So this is what we are doing today, and we are proved here. Na mumeona hiyo. Wakienda kuharibika, basi hiyo sio shauri ya kanisa, because we checked, we did background check that we are giving the right people to the church. Now I will read a few things, and then those of you who are lucky to find this, we could not print the entire for everybody in the congregation. We have given the messages there. Those who have it, I am going to read mine and explain. Then we shall ordain them to serve the church. And their ordination is ordination to the worldwide church. Today, any of these pastors can apply for pastoral work in the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Australia, and work in Australia or India or Greenland or anywhere, Italy, zingine zile ambazo zina majina makubwa makubwa na magumu magumu kama Czechoslovakia. He can work even there, as in a governor. Those ones, those hard ones. So ordination is a very important thing because it opens service to the entire world. So that is why we are doing it very carefully here, so that if he says, I have been asked to go and work as a missionary somewhere, then we know we have given those people the right person. Now, what we want to do today is, the topic is there not still one prophet in Israel that we can inquire of the Lord? Amen. Isn't there one prophet in Israel? The Bible is saying, isn't there one true prophet in Israel? One real prophet in Israel? One upright prophet in Israel whom we can inquire of the Lord? And I'm going to speak to that topic from two books. They record the same story. But it's good where the same story is recorded, you read where it appears. You will get a lot of information if you read. For example, if there are the Gospels, the 4 Gospels, and there's a story that cuts across, you do well to read that story from Matthew and read it from Mark and then from Luke and from John, and you will wonder how much light you get from the message that is recorded there. So this question that will inform the sermon for ordination or ordination sermon is taken from 1 Kings 22. 1 Kings 22. And another place where it appears is 2 Chronicles chapter 18. So you write those 2 chapters. I will give you a few things. But I will use 2 Chronicles chapter 18. This question was asked by a king. In Israel, there were 3 leaders who took care of the economy and the life of Israel. It was a king, a priest, and a prophet. Those were the leaders in Israel. There are several assistants here and there, but the 3 leaders who led, like we have East Nairobi Kajiado as the president. Unaona Daniel, you are there, and I'm mentioning your field. East Nairobi field, there is a president, there is executive secretary, there is a treasurer. Even in Israel, there are 3 key leaders. That was the king, a priest, and a prophet. Now, in the chapter, we are considering to give us the background for ordaining the pastors is we have these 2 leaders, these 2 key leaders, a prophet and a king. Now, this is where we have the kings, 2 kings, and 2 groups of prophets. 2 kings and 2 groups of prophets. That's what you will get there. And that is what we are going to read. And one of them asks, and I'm going to read from verse 6, 2 Chronicles 18. He says, "But Jehoshaphat said, is there not still a prophet of the Lord here, that we may inquire of him?" I am looking at this. The story goes like this, that King Jehoshaphat and King Ahab were kings at the same time. One was the king of Judah, and another one was the king of Israel. Or to put it in other words, one was the king in the southern kingdom, which was Judah, and another one was a king in the northern kingdom, which was Israel. To put it right, it means Jehoshaphat was the king of southern kingdom, or Judah. And King Ahab was the king in the northern kingdom, or Israel, or sometimes called Samaria. All those words are there. They were contemporaries, means they ruled at the same time. Now here, their story, the one I'm going to take you through in the 2 passages I've mentioned, shows how pastoral ministry is carried out in the great controversy era. So they teach us how pastoral ministry can be played, can be carried out in the great controversy period. When you read the history of this, you read it in the context, what is written in the Bible here, from Genesis to Revelation. All the examples, all the symbols, all the stories written here, they are written to show the play and the counterplay of the great controversy. And you know, the great controversy is written here in very clearly in Revelation 12, verse 7, and it says, "And a war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought with the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back." This great controversy, this is what we call the great controversy. A war which started in heaven between Michael, who is Jesus Christ, and the dragon, or the angel, what was his name? Lucifer. The angel Lucifer decides to fight, or to put it correctly, a creature turning against his creator, or a beneficiary turns to fight his benefactor. This is the great controversy. It started in heaven and came down here. So what is recorded from Genesis to Revelation is the play and the counterplay of this war. And in our current chapter, we are now dealing with pastoral ministry in the context of this great controversy. And the question that Jehoshaphat asks is very relevant to date. And we are going to see how we are going to apply it to these pastors before we ordain them. Here is what we read in the opening verse. Opening verse is there are only two sides of the great controversy. And you are either operating from one side or the other. So this chapter tells us there was a divided ministry. A ministry that was operated from the dragon's side. And they decided to be men pleasers. They studied, they were psychologists. They to look at you and they see what you want, and that's what they tell you. And then there is another group that is a faithful ministry. So we are dealing with either compromise ministry or a faithful ministry. And the question is inquiring, are we going to depend on this compromised ministry? Or we have a faithful ministry through which we can inquire the will of God. So this was a war situation. And there were two kings, and they represent the two sides of the great controversy. There was Ahab, whom the Bible says, in summary, that there was no evil king that had gone before or served after who was as evil as Ahab. That's how ECV is presented. That he was the worst king of Israel. All he did. And then there was Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat, ECV says, and Jehoshaphat did what was good in the sight of God. So they are representing two sides of the great controversy and two ministries in the great controversy. So this is what happened. As soon as Israel divided, those of you who like history, because I know some of you are allergic to history, as soon as Israel was divided in the time of Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, in 722 BC, the northern kingdom went north and began to rebel against God. They exchanged their God and they went to Baal. They went to all the gods of the surrounding nations and put their nation in that way. So it sank deeper and deeper in the spiritual darkness. And that is what Ahab represents, that side of the great controversy. But southern kingdom, which is represented by Jehoshaphat, remained faithful. They never did anything without inquiring from God. They utilized prophets. But the northern kingdom could go and inquire from a prophet. If he doesn't speak as they would want it spoken, they exchanged him. They replaced him and brought one who could speak what they want to hear. And so there were very many. Another problem is, as time went by, there were alliances between this faithful kingdom of the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom. And where it touches the two kings, and what brings them together is their family relationship. In chapter 18 of 2 Chronicles says, Jehoshaphat had riches and honor in abundance, and by marriage he was allied himself to Ahab. What does that mean? And I know we are from different mother tongues. Let me tell you the relationship, and you can tell me from your mother tongue what the two kings call one another. Jehoshaphat had a son called Jehoram. Ahab had a daughter called Athaliah. So Jehoram, who was the son of Jehoshaphat, married Athaliah, who was the daughter of Ahab. So in your mother tongue, what do they call one another? That is from one place. Nyawana? Nyawana. Yeah. Nyawana. Shetawa. Ingine? Setawa. Modoniwa. Yes. This is the situation we have here. Now, these two people related by marriage. The son of Jehoshaphat has married the daughter of Ahab, and they were there. It says here in chapter 18, and he was by marriage allied himself with Ahab. After some years, he went down to visit Ahab. Kwa hivyo, in my mother tongue, Chikorera two went to visit one another. And you know that where you come from. The one who has given you your daughter and the one who has given you a son, when they come, you must select a ceremony and the feeding program. Must be different. It's not the same as any other visitor or relative who has come to have here. And it looks like this is what was in Israel. Then it says here, he went, after some years, he went down to visit Ahab in Samaria, and Ahab killed sheep and oxen and abundance for him and the people who were with him. He entertained this cholera very well. This Nyawana, he entertained him. After which, then he asked Nyawana, I have a problem here. I lost one town called Ramoth in Gilead. And I have been thinking about it. I want to go and bring it back. Can you please join me to go to war? Said, why not? We are relatives. I think your success is my success. After all, you have taken care of my daughter very well. Why not? Let's go. Then he says, let's go. But because Jehoshaphat was a faithful king, he wanted always to do what was right. He said, if you have got to go, you must do one thing, which Ahab was not prepared to do. He said, first of all, seek the will of God for this alliance. That is what is in this place. And it says, after they have done here, verse 4, he said, Jehoshaphat said to King Ahab, please inquire for the word of the Lord today. I have agreed on one condition, that if you inquire whether what we are going to do is the right thing, inquire from God. Now, Ahab did not have a problem with that. Then he said, yeah, we'll do it. So they sat down in the threshing floor, the two of them dressed in kingly attire. King Ahab his side, Jehoshaphat his side. They have eaten well, they are okay. Now they have wameunda plan ya kwenda kurudisha ule mji wa Ramoth. Then now, that is where it brings two types of ministry here, which we want to see that this is what is up to date, and the church must know whether the people they are doing are serving on the enemy side or on God's side. So this is what he says. We must do that. Verse 5 says, then King Ahab of Israel gathered prophets together, 400 men, and said to them, shall we go to war against Ramoth Gilead, or shall we not so? Immediately he went and brought his people, who were his spiritual advisors. His spiritual advisors. And because they were men pleasers, there were people who would look at you and know, what do you want? Unataka ushinde kiti cha member of parliament. Nasema leo tumebarikiwa, Mungu anasema apishaye aombaye. Kwa hivyo kuna mmoja wetu hapa ameomba kiti ya ubunge, kwa hivyo tunaenda kuomba kwa jina la Yesu atapata hicho kiti. Anamwombea. Akimaliza anamwambia kitasa kiko hapo, wewe weka sadaka. Men pleasers. And Ahab had plenty of this, 400 of them. So when this one said, can you inquire from the Lord? Alileta watu 400. Saidi tulivyo hapa. Because in my simple mathematics, if, we may be around 300, 350 plus hiyo sehemu. So hii yote, umati wwote ulikuwa ni prophets. Wamekuja huku, wamesimama hapa, wameketi. Then they ask the question, shall we go or shall we not go? Very quickly. Wakafanya vituko vyao, na huyu anaangalia. Then they said very quickly, so they said, go up, for God will deliver it into the king's hand. Yes, go. Just go. Go. And those of you who have studied Old Testament, these were royal prophets. Prophets who served in the king's house. You don't have to kupitana na mkubwa. Hiyo vitu vingine, mwambie anything, aenda akutane na madhara mbele. Muradi tu, ubaki hapo, ukule kitu yako, ukule mshahara. So here they are, yeah, go, you go. But this man of God, Jehoshaphat, looked at their face and never saw sincerity in their face. He never saw seriousness in the face. Whatever they did is not mentioned. But when you read history, they had a way of doing things. Kama hawa watu wa ramuri, hawa kupiga ramuri hapa. Akawaangalia akasema, this cannot be the will of God. Kama wamemwambia hivi, I think I'm not satisfied that these people are really serious about asking the will of God. That is when he asked. Yeah, they have said, okay. They are the majority. They are 400. But before we go, I have one question here. Verse 6, it says, but Jehoshaphat said, is there not still a prophet of the Lord here that we may inquire of him? alipowaangalia alisema they are called prophets and I have no problem with that, but I doubt whether they are the prophets of the Lord, and we are inquiring from God. If they are not prophets of God, how would they inquire and God give the right answer? So he said, are these all? Isn't there even one? And then Ahab said, yeah, there is one. And I was intentional. I did not want to go and inquire from you.
Ili kutualika tuabudu nawe, wasiliana nasi leo kupitia nambari 0790748506, 0790748506, 0790748506, au tuandikie barua pepe kwa anwani mgospelradio@gmail.com. Kumbuka, Gospel Radio ni injili ya matumaini kwa jamii.
Is not part of this group. Because if I brought here, angaribu maneno. He wouldn't have said what this have said.
You are listening to Gospel Radio, injili ya matumaini kwa jamii.